Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon, ma.
We completed up to villi, present on the small intestine in the previous class, and one more slide is there regarding the small intestine. Hope you have understood and learned the last day's portion. I'll be showing one more slide of small intestine, and after that I'll be asking you questions based on last day's portions. So directly I'm going to the slides. Length of the small intestine in animals. So you can see a picture over here. Small intestine found in a carnivore as well as in a herbivore. And if you compare these two, you will find that the small intestine found in herbivores is longer. When you compare the small intestine of carnivore and herbivore, you will find the small intestine in herbivores is longer. Let's see what is the reason for that. The length of the small intestine differs in animals depending on the food they eat. Herbivores, they eat grass. They need a longer small intestine because cellulose, when compared to meat, cellulose is difficult to get digested. It takes time for getting digested. So in order to facilitate or help in the digestion of cellulose, they have a longer small intestine. Whereas carnivores like tigers, they have shorter small intestine because they mainly feed on meat and meat is easier to digest. This point is given in your textbook. It can be asked as a reasoning question. The small intestine in herbivores is longer than that found in carnivores. Explain giving reason. Or simply you will be asked to give reasons for that. So what is the reason? Herbivores feed on cellulose, whereas carnivores feed on meat. And cellulose is difficult to get digested when compared to meat. So in order to digest cellulose properly, the cellulose should get digested properly. It's for that they are provided with a longer small intestine. Hope you got the point. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Why herbivores are having larger or longer small intestine, hey, Steve?
Because they are
What is difficult to get digested?
cellulose.
Cellulose is difficult to get digested, whereas in carnivores
Carnivores, the meat
is easy to
digest.
okay when compared to cellulose. Okay, Ashik, tell me what are villi?
Villi are tiny finger-like projection on the surface of the stomach. Listen,
Stomach,
small intestine.
small intestine. Aditya is Krishna. Your audio is okay now? But I cannot hear you. Adil, you were absent yesterday. Why? What happened?
I went to mosque.
Ah. Okay, you revised what was covered last day, Adil?
Ma'am, I checked the class, but it was not uploaded that time.
Okay. Okay. Vishnupriya, saved no for this time. Vishnupriya, give me the answer. What is the function of villi?
It increases the surface area for absorption.
And these villi are richly supplied with blood vessels, and the blood vessels will absorb the digested nutrients and it will be transported to different parts of the body. And there, this is used for three purposes. Rifa, for what all purposes the digested nutrients are being used?
For obtaining energy,
For obtaining energy.
repairing the older tissues, and for building new tissues.
For building up new tissues and for repairing old tissues. Okay. And now, which part of the alimentary canal we need to learn? We completed up to small intestine, and what is remaining? Large intestine. And I think I told you when we discussed about the different parts of alimentary canal, when compared to small intestine, large intestine is smaller. Okay. In terms of length, small intestine is longer and large intestine is shorter. But we call it as larger and the other one is smaller in terms of its width. Large intestine is broader but shorter in length. Small intestine is narrower when compared to large intestine, but it is very long. Even though it is long, you call it a small intestine in terms of its width. And if you see the length of the entire alimentary canal, it's approximately 9 meters. 9 meters. Total length of alimentary canal in human beings is approximately 9 meters, and 6 to 7 meters is occupied by small intestine, and large intestine is 1.5 meters long. So you can understand the difference in the length. Altogether, the small alimentary canal, the entire alimentary canal is 9 meters in length. Small intestine 6 to 7 meters, whereas large intestine is just 1.5 meters length, but we call it as large intestine, seeing its width. If you compare the width, large intestine is broader. Okay. Hope you have understood. Now we are proceeding to large intestine, and I told you digestion is getting completed in the, where is digestion completed?
Small
In
intestine.
the small intestine. And then what is the role of large intestine if the digestion is getting completed in the small intestine? The unabsorbed food. We learned that digestion is getting completed in the small intestine, and the digested nutrients are absorbed into the blood vessels that are present in the villi. The unabsorbed food is sent to the large intestine. The food which is not absorbed, the entire food will not get absorbed. Only certain nutrients, means only the digested nutrients. There will be undigested matter. Only the digested nutrients will be absorbed, and the food particles which are unabsorbed or not digested, that will be sent to the large intestine. And in the large intestine, no digestion takes place. Where else I told you no digestion is taking place? Esophagus. So esophagus and large intestine are two parts of the alimentary canal where no digestion is taking place. Whereas in large intestine, reabsorption of water is taking place. The walls of, see, undigested or unabsorbed food from the small intestine will pass on to the large intestine. And large intestine, the walls of the large intestine will absorb water, excess water from these food particles. The rest of the material is removed from the body via anus. It will be stored, it gets stored in the rectum, and then it will be released through the anus. The exit of this waste material is regulated by anal sphincter. And I told you when we discussed about sphincter muscle in the stomach, I told you that sphincter muscles are present in other parts of your body. There is an anal sphincter also. It regulates the excretion of undigested food materials from your body. The waste materials will be released out through the anus, controlled by anal sphincter. So once again, we were discussing about large intestine. The unabsorbed food from the small intestine will move to the large intestine, and in the large intestine, no digestion takes place because digestion is already completed in the small intestine. Then what is the role of large intestine? It will absorb the water from these materials. The walls of the large intestine will absorb water from the unabsorbed food, and the remaining material will be removed from our body through the anus, and the regulation of this is carried out by anal sphincter. The waste will be released from our body through the anus with the help of an anal sphincter. Okay, so with that we have completed nutrition in human beings. So I'll repeat the points what I told once again. We started with this slide. I'm repeating it again for all those who joined late. We compared the small intestine in different animals, and as you can see in the picture, the carnivores are having smaller or shorter small intestine than herbivores. The reason is herbivores feed on grass, which is made of cellulose. So as cellulose is difficult to be digested, they need a longer small intestine, but carnivores have shorter small intestine because meat is easier to digest when compared to cellulose. Then we moved on to large intestine. The unabsorbed food from the small intestine will pass on to the large intestine. No digestion is taking place here. Large intestine will, or the walls of the large intestine will absorb water from this unabsorbed food. And this will be the unabsorbed food will get stored in the rectum, and through the anus it will be ejected out or released out, and the movement of this waste material is regulated through the anus, is regulated by the anal sphincter. Okay, is that clear? Why
Yes, ma'am.
herbivores are having a longer small intestine? Meghna, why herbivores have longer small intestine?
Herbivores eat cellulose.
Hmm.
It is easier to, it is hard to digest.
Hmm.
While
they have a-
carnivores feed on meat, so their herbivores have.
That I did not ask, only about herbivores. So herbivores, they feed on cellulose, which is difficult to be digested. So they have a longer small intestine. And Sainaba, why carnivores have a small intestine, shorter small intestine? Sainaba,
Because they eat meat, so it is easy
easier
to
to digest. And okay, children, so we are going to start a new topic. Hope you don't have any doubts regarding nutrition in human beings. I had asked you to revise the whole topic, that is nutrition in human beings. I don't know how many of you revised. Anyway, it's okay. I'm going to start with respiration. So tomorrow is Sunday. Monday, we'll be having a class. Monday, we will have an oral test, not written test. We'll have an oral test before we begin that day's class, Monday's portion. We will have 10-15 minutes. Oral test will be there. And the topic to learn is nutrition in human beings. Agreed? Melvin? Okay. Only with nutrition in human beings. Only that topic. Starting from the mouth till what happens to the unabsorbed food. The whole thing. Okay? Nutrition in human beings, revise thoroughly and come, no excuse. So I'm going to start with respiration. Respiration is another very, very important life process. What do you know about respiration? What have you learned? I know I've seen 7th standard textbook, same topic. I feel that so many topics are being continued here. What do you know about respiration? Respiration means what? Priya, what do you mean by respiration? Let it be wrong, children, no problem.
Process by which we take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide.
Okay. So she said, taking in oxygen, giving out carbon dioxide. Then what is breathing? Yeah. Breathing is also same thing, no?
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am.
Yes. Who is saying? John, what is breathing?
Taking in oxygen
and giving out carbon dioxide. So then what is the difference between breathing and respiration? And children,
Breathing.
you told me that oxygen is taken in. What for we are taking in oxygen? What is happening to this oxygen that we take in?
Blood base
Is
taking
taken
oxygen.
by RBC.
Ah, yes, yes. Amina, correct. Amina told, no, it will help in breaking down the food particles. Now, just now we completed nutrition and we learned that digested nutrients will reach each and every cell of a body. And it will be carried by blood. Blood will take the digested nutrients to each and every cell of a body. Now, the oxygen which you're breathing in will reach each and every cell. And what this oxygen will do, they will combine with those food, the digested nutrients, and release what? Release what, children?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, and correct, Adi. And what else?
Excess gases.
What is the purpose of eating food? Main
For
purpose.
obtaining energy.
Releasing
Utilize
energy. Yes. When you respire, when the food combines, when the glucose is broken down, when the food particles combine with oxygen, energy will be released. And as a waste product, carbon dioxide will be produced. And this carbon dioxide will be expelled out and we get energy to carry out our day. In between the connectivity went, children. I told you, no? Again, the same problem is going book. Tell me. You told we carry out, human beings carry out.
Takes place
Huh?
in the presence of oxygen.
Referring somewhere. What is taking place in the presence of oxygen? What is taking place? Huh? What is broken down?
Glucose.
Glucose, when it is broken down, in presence of oxygen, you call it as aerobic. And anaerobic is the breaking down of glucose taking place in the absence of oxygen. For all organisms, oxygen is not necessary to release energy. Children, you all had your lunch? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
When your stomach is full, what happens? You will have a tendency to
Sleep.
no energy at all. You're feeling sleepy? You're feeling sleepy, Amina? Amina is not feeling sleepy. Some phases, seeing that I feel that you, Haya, you're traveling somewhere?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but still you're attending. Good. Nobody is feeling sleepy now? Is there anyone feeling sleepy? Then the next question I will ask you. Ashik is feeling sleepy. Prajot, today you're not in the shop?
Yes, ma'am. This is so full.
I thought seeing the background is changed. I thought you're at home. Okay, now next question I will ask you. What is anaerobic respiration? What is anaerobic respiration? This is not difficult, children. You have learned. Guess. Guess and say.
I forgot.
No, just now Melvin told that aerobic respiration means breaking down of glucose in the presence of oxygen. Then what is opposite for that? Presence of oxygen. Simple guesswork you can answer.
Dioxide.
No.
Without
In
the presence
presence
of
of
oxygen.
yes. When the glucose, when glucose is broken down, I already told the answer earlier. I think some of you did not listen. The breaking down of glucose, when it takes place in the absence of oxygen, you call it as anaerobic respiration. And children, I have seen that you might be knowing, like a common question asked is the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration, or with the help of a flow chart. A flow chart is given in your textbook. That is very important. You will be asked to write the differences between, maybe with the diagram or without the diagram. You can be asked to write the differences between both. So sometimes some of the children, they interchange the heading. Aerobic and anaerobic, they get confused. For aerobic, they will write in the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic, they'll write in the presence of oxygen. So that you should not get confused. You might be knowing all the points. Sometimes I feel pity for them, because all the points, 3-4 points they've written very correctly, but the headings got interchanged. So I cannot give not even half marks. So aerobic in presence of oxygen, anaerobic in the absence of oxygen. So don't forget it. You can write down somewhere, highlight it, or circle with some other color, sketch pen or whatever it is, but don't forget. See, when you are writing the lecture notes, if you highlight some topics or circle it or draw a flower and write inside that, all those will be registered in your mind. That is why in between I'm saying that underline that particular point. Now different colored highlighters are available. So whatever point I'm saying, everything is important. You cannot avoid not even a single line. But some points, when I say this is important, you highlight it so that as soon as you open the book, that point will get registered in your mind. Okay, let's continue. Respiration. Respiration is a process by which oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. 3 parts, 3 steps I told. Oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. Okay, once again, I'll repeat it once again. Oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. Respiration is the process by which oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. You know the first and third points. Oxygen is taken in, carbon dioxide is given out. So in between, in the middle of this, you should write utilize for energy release. Respiration is the process by which oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. Hope you learned the definition. Very simple. The food material taken in during the process of nutrition is oxidized. What do you mean by oxidation? Oxidize means what? Adidev, tell me, what is oxidation? Something is oxidized
It is
means it's
mixed with
combining with
oxygen.
very good. It's
Oxygen.
combining with oxygen. The food material which is taken in during the process of nutrition is oxidized in the cells to provide energy for different life processes. That is what I already told you. The digested nutrients has reached each and every cell. Now, when you breathe in, oxygen also reaches the cells and they oxidize, or the food material combine with oxygen and release energy. So once again, the definition for respiration, it's a process by which oxygen is taken in, utilized for energy release, and carbon dioxide is given out. Types of respiration: aerobic and anaerobic. These are the 2 types of respiration. Be very careful with the spelling. Aerobic. Here, anaerobic. Okay. And here, what is extra? An is extra over here. See here, an. Aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic and anaerobic. In front of aerobic, if you add an, it becomes anaerobic. And aerobic, anaerobic, aerobic and anaerobic. Now, both these processes or both these types of respiration, they have a similarity. Now, first, let's see the similarity. It can be asked, write the similarity between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Whether it is aerobic or anaerobic, its first step is same. It has got same, similar first step. Now, let's see what is the step. First step is breaking down of glucose into pyruvate. And this takes place in the cytoplasm. So this is common. I'll write here once again. First step is breaking down of glucose into pyruvate. Pyruvate. Okay. And glucose is having 6 carbon atoms, whereas pyruvate molecule is having only 3 carbon atoms. And the process is taking place in the cytoplasm. This step is common for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. I'll repeat once again. Aerobic respiration is a breaking down of glucose in presence of oxygen. And anaerobic respiration is the respiration, breaking down of glucose in the absence of oxygen. So you can even remember it using, you can even remember it using these 3 letters. Air. Even though AIR is air, so it is also pronounced as air. So air, oxygen. So in presence of oxygen. And air. No air, no oxygen. So somehow you remember it, don't get confused. Okay. In both these types of respiration, the similarity is that the first step which is taking place in the cytoplasm is same. What is the first step? Breaking down glucose into pyruvate. Glucose molecule will break down to pyruvate. And this takes place in cytoplasm. Whether it is aerobic or anaerobic, the first step is the breaking down of glucose into pyruvate, which is taking place in the cytoplasm. This is a similarity. Okay. Differences you're going to learn. Before dealing with the differences, I thought I'll tell you the similarity. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In both types, the first step is same. What is the first step? Breaking down of glucose into pyruvate. Glucose has got 6 carbon atoms. Pyruvate only 3 carbon atoms. And this process is taking place in the cytoplasm. Okay. Shall I move? Shall I change the slide?
Yes,
ma'am.
Now we are going to see the differences. One by one, we'll discuss the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. See the 2 types, aerobic, anaerobic. First point, aerobic takes place in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic takes place in the absence of oxygen. Have you learned the first difference, children?
yes,
Have
ma'am.
you learned it? Okay. Now learn the second one. It takes time. Okay. The pyruvate molecule. First step, you know, it is breaking down to pyruvate. Pyruvate molecule is broken down to 3 molecules of carbon dioxide and water. Okay. What are the products formed? Pyruvate is breaking down to carbon dioxide and water. How many molecules? 3 molecules of carbon dioxide and water. Where does this take place? in the mitochondria. You know about mitochondria. Class 9, we have learned about the cell organelle, mitochondria. What is the other name for mitochondria, children?
Powerhouse.
Very good. Powerhouses of the cell, because there the energy is being released. So the second difference is regarding the products. In aerobic respiration, the pyruvate molecule is broken down to 3 molecules of carbon dioxide and water. Whereas in anaerobic, the products are ethanol, and carbon dioxide. Okay, here the products, carbon dioxide and water. Here, yes, yes.
Your video is turned off.
Okay. Carbon dioxide and ethanol. In place of water, here it is ethanol. And this is taking place in the cytoplasm, not in the mitochondria. And you can see that aerobic respiration is taking place only in certain organisms. In human muscle cells also it takes place. And the pyruvate molecule, I told, it is broken down to ethanol and carbon dioxide. And these are the products in yeast cells. In yeast cells. In yeast. You have heard about yeast, no? These are the products of anaerobic respiration in yeast and takes place in the cytoplasm. And in human beings also, normally we carry out aerobic respiration. But sometimes our muscle cells, when, for example, when you are taking part in some running race and your body needs too much energy and oxygen supply is not sufficient, then at that time, in your body, the pyruvate can get converted to lactic acid and energy. So 2 examples where anaerobic respiration takes place are yeast cells and human muscle cells. And there are certain bacteria also where anaerobic respiration takes place. That second point, I will repeat again, not to worry. Moving on to the third point. Energy released is a lot more than that in anaerobic respiration. So in aerobic respiration, more energy is released. Whereas energy released in anaerobic respiration is, just a minute, energy released is less than that in aerobic respiration. Got it? I'll repeat the points once again. First, we will learn the first and third point. Then we will move on to the second point. Okay? Aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. That I hope all have got the point. Now let's learn the third point. We will learn about the second one, the green, what I've shown in green color, you will learn later. Now coming to the third point. In aerobic respiration, more energy is released. And in anaerobic respiration, less energy is released. Once again, in aerobic respiration, energy released is more than that of anaerobic. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, energy released is less than that of aerobic. So first and third points are clear? First and third points are clear,
Yes,
children?
ma'am.
Now, second point about the products. So in the beginning, I told you the similarity between both the processes is that glucose molecule will get broken down to pyruvate. Now, the second point is mentioned. In the second point, it is mentioned what happens to this pyruvate molecule. If it is aerobic respiration, the products formed are carbon dioxide and water. Okay. In aerobic respiration, the products formed are carbon dioxide, water, then energy is also there. That is common product. So carbon dioxide and energy are formed as a result of aerobic respiration. And not only that, this process is taking place in mitochondria. And in yeast cells, pyruvate will break down to carbon dioxide and ethanol. Here it was carbon dioxide and water. But in yeast cells, I'll show it once again. Here it is carbon dioxide and water. And it is taking place in mitochondria. But in yeast cells, it is carbon dioxide and not water. Replace water with ethanol. Ethanol means ethyl alcohol. Ethanol. Some problem. Wait. Just a minute. Okay. Once again, I will repeat. The products formed are carbon dioxide and water in aerobic, whereas in anaerobic respiration taking place in yeast cell, products are carbon dioxide, ethanol. And in human muscle cells also, when there is a lack of oxygen, anaerobic respiration takes place, and there the pyruvate will be converted to lactic acid and energy. Did you get the point? Have you understood? You want me to repeat it again? Here, I'll just write it and show. About the products. First and third point, I hope all have understood. Only about the products. So in aerobic respiration, let me take another color pen. Pyruvate is converted to carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Okay. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, yeast cells also we learned anaerobic respiration in yeast cells and also human muscle cell. In yeast, pyruvate is getting converted to carbon dioxide, then ethanol and energy. And if you compare, you will see that there is only one difference between both. What is the difference? Here it is carbon dioxide, here also carbon dioxide. Here it is energy, here also energy. But water is replaced by ethanol. Only that is the difference. Ethanol means it's an alcohol, ethyl alcohol. Then anaerobic respiration, it takes place in human muscle cells also when we run short of oxygen. Human muscle cells. Human muscle cells. Okay, here what is happening? Pyruvate. Pyruvate is getting changed to what? Lactic acid and energy. There is some problem in writing on the board, children. Please bear with me. I'm not able to write it properly. I think some problem is there. Is it taking place? Which part of the cell?
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm. So what is the similarity?
Pyruvate will break down into.
That is the first step. Okay, now the differences. Sainaba, tell me the first difference.
Energy released is more in aerobic respiration. Energy released is less in anaerobic respiration.
Okay, point number 2, Fia.
In aerobic respiration, it takes place in the presence of oxygen.
Which one? Aerobic or anaerobic?
Aerobic
Okay. And in anaerobic?
takes place in the absence of oxygen.
And Rose, next.
In aerobic respiration, more energy is released.
Rose?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
In aerobic respiration, more energy is released, and anaerobic respiration.
No, that point was told. It was told by Sainaba. About the products you say. In aerobic respiration, pyruvate molecule will form.
Is broken down into carbon dioxide, water, and energy.
Very good. And in anaerobic respiration?
It is broken down into
Broken down to?
ethanol, carbon dioxide, and energy.
Energy. Carbon dioxide energy is common for both, and that is taking place in yeast cells. But if it is happening in human muscle cells, what are the products? Lactic acid and energy. Rifa?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the products of anaerobic respiration in human muscle cells?
Ethanol,
You were not here, I understood. What are the products, Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie, in human muscle cells. Yes, lactic acid and energy. Okay, we'll wind up. So next class, nutrition in human beings, you should thoroughly revise and come. After the oral test only, we'll start with the lesson. Okay? Start with the next day's topic. Agreed? Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.